We're going to take you on a walking tour through the medieval town of Vence in the south of France. This small, picturesque village with its pedestrian zone makes a very worthwhile day trip. Strolling here is a pure pleasure. Roughly circular in shape, only about 200 meters across, maybe the size of 6 football fields, so you can easily see it in a few hours walking around. Much of the medieval still survives here in the maze of narrow streets crowded with houses of great age. It's truly a joy to walk here because it's small enough that you can't get lost. The terrain is level, no hills or stairs to climb, and the paving is smooth underfoot. The lanes open into several small plazas with outdoor tables, and the beautiful buildings shelter cafes and attractive shops. Vence is fairly close to Nice in Provence. Trains do not go to Vence, but there is excellent public transportation available. It's an easy bus ride from Nice. It takes just over 1 hour to get there. And in the morning, the buses leave about every half hour. There's a convenient bus stop next to the old town of Nice, just across the street from Le Méridien Hotel, a major landmark in the city. You can't miss it. The bus ride starts out with a lovely drive along the Promenade des Anglais, the grand waterfront boulevard of Nice. You'll pass the Negresco Hotel, its fancy restaurant, the Chanticleer. This same bus also goes to Saint-Paul-de-Vence, another lovely village that you could see during this same day trip, as we're showing you in a different video that you can find in our collection about Saint-Paul-de-Vence. You'll soon be in the countryside, and before you know it, you have arrived in Vence. The bus drops you off 500 meters from the old town at Place du Grand Jardin, which is a lovely park with benches and flowers, and there is a flea market going on that we'll show you at the end of the movie. And from there you'll walk along several blocks of the main street of town, passing all sorts of interesting stores. You might want to linger here for a while. It's a typical clean and modern French city, but we are heading for the old part of town, just ahead. And around the corner you will soon reach the tourist information office. Yeah. And this lady was happy to tell us about the old town and suggest a walking route for us.
So we are here now, tourist office, and in Vence, that's the old town, the medieval part, the old city you have to see. Very nice. You have to cross it, in diagonal.
It's always a good idea to get some local information from an expert and some free maps. You see this gateway, that was part of the original fortified wall around the village. This Peyre fountain dates to 1578 and was rebuilt in 1822. Just beyond the fountain is Place du Peyre with a very welcoming sidewalk restaurant. This space had once been a bustling market and a place for people to gather and socialize, and now it functions like the front door to the old town. All of which makes for a delightful first impression to begin your little adventure. The Place turns into Rue du Peyre, a short shopping lane that will take you towards the center of the village, and notice how beautiful the paving is. Leads on to another one of the main shopping lanes that has some little cafes as well, along with clothing and gift shops, which might slow you down. There are also some nice homes here, providing that typical mix of residential and retail and commercial and public spaces you find throughout Europe. And at the end of this lane, it widens out to form Place Clemenceau, which is tucked away right in the middle of the old village. It has got some outdoor restaurants for a nice meal or a simple drink at a cafe. The brightly colored City Hall is here. There used to be a castle on this spot in the 13th century for the Lords of Vence. And the smallest cathedral in all of France, Our Lady of the Nativity. The first church was built here in the 4th century on the foundations of an ancient Roman temple, while the current building took shape in the 11th and 12th centuries in the Romanesque style. The cathedral is only 110 feet long and about 70 feet high. The interior is a simple nave lined by massive columns with tiers of semicircular arches and double aisles with some elements of the Italian Renaissance. You're also allowed to walk on the staircase that leads to the choir. Quite remarkably, this old building has an original mosaic mural in the baptistry by Marc Chagall, one of the great artists of the 20th century who lived nearby. It depicts Moses saved from the waters, with natural sidelights streaming onto the colorful stones. Upon exiting the church, turn right and you'll see a covered passageway with columns and arches that support an upper covered walkway that connected the bishop's palace and the cathedral back in the 14th century. Let's take a look at the map to see our walking route. So far, we've come in through the main gate, Porte du Peyrat, and around and over to the cathedral. And then next, we are going to do a lot more walking. Show you some cafe terraces, go outside the wall and look at the modern streets, and then come around back in, walking along the main shopping street of town, and then outside through another gate in the wall, then back in, and we continue walking around in a circular fashion that will show us everything there is to see in Vence. From Place Clemenceau, we're exiting the south end and turning left into a small market square, Place Surian, with a few restaurants and cafes, food stores and bars, nice for browsing or a snack. The trees and umbrellas and many chairs and tables create a delightful open-air environment, including an outdoor produce market, geared more for local residents or perhaps visitors in a vacation rental staying for a few days. We've exited the far end of Surian and continue along Rue de l'Hôtel de Ville. It's another narrow lane with more restaurants and shops and residences upstairs. And you'll notice that the weather can change here very quickly. We can go from sunshine to cloudy and a little sprinkle, and then it'll clear up again. In a few blocks, we reach the outer wall and gate called Porte du Synodore, a watchman's tower dating to the 13th century. Upon exiting the gate, we walk along the avenue, heading west for one block, getting a feel for this section of the modern town with shops and a few hotels. That soon leads you to the next gate in the wall, Porte du Pontis, and returns you back in time and place to this quieter space of the old town. We have re-entered that narrow tangle of pedestrian lanes, which might look a little confusing again, but just take a left turn and you'll soon be approaching the most interesting couple of blocks in the old town. It's the Market Street, Rue du Marché. Now it has lovely shops, but a century ago it was only residential with some kitchens and stables. It's where the locals come to get their fresh produce, which they can pick out themselves from the sidewalk stand. So many wonderful choices here, all elements of the superb French cuisine. And how about some cheese? Here you will find a wide variety of types and flavors and textures, some of it pasteurized and some of it raw in that French style. You'll find the patisserie is more than just a bakery. They offer pizza and quiche and other delicious items. Of course, there are some art galleries, nothing like in Saint Paul de Vence as we're showing you in our other movie, but here we've got an artist out on the sidewalk doing some open-air painting. He can enjoy the scene of people walking by, and people can observe this fellow at work, and maybe they want to buy something. Art is very popular in this region, with a great history of famous painters living here and many fine art museums. From Place du Peyrat, we're continuing once again along these narrow lanes, heading for another gate, the Portal Lebus, one of three gates of the ancient Roman road. When you exit the old town through the stone gateway and then turn around and look back, you find the wall has been converted into homes. This circle of housing reinforces the wall that goes all the way around the old town. From the 15th century, inhabitants were allowed to build their homes against the wall on condition they had an iron grill on their windows. Across the street, there's an open plaza that provides a nice view looking out at the hillside, part of the Alpes-Maritime region. It's useful to remember that you are walking along ancient paths that have been patiently restored through massive reconstruction, which undoubtedly disturbed previous visitors, but you don't even realize that previous chaos as you're walking along, so be appreciative of all that noisy, dirty work, which is now finished. The town is a polished gem, very clean and well-maintained, enhanced by landscaping of floral displays, open leafy plazas, and hundreds of trees in a wide variety. In recent decades throughout Europe, there has been an amazing amount of renovations and restorations and reconstructions that have been taking place in the old towns and the old buildings, protecting and preserving them for the future. They see them as a vital resource for their local residents as well as for the visitors, especially in destination towns like Vence. For example, look at the change in pavement that has been made on one of the main lanes of Vence in the last decade. In 2006, it was asphalt, and now it's a beautiful stone paved lane. Same lane further along in 2006, more asphalt, and then transformed after a lot of hard work into a beautiful stone paving. Look at that pattern. In 2006, emerging from that tunneled walkway brought you into more asphalt and a parking lot. Now it's become a beautiful plaza, like the transformation from lead to gold as dreamed of by the old alchemists. As we stroll through Place Godot, we're heading straight into another little lane, which is going to be the final leg of our organized walking route, Rue Saint-Véran. Of course, Vence is small enough and easily navigated with these lanes and good signpostings telling you where you are. You don't really need an organized route. You could just aimlessly wander. That can be a fun way to discover a place. But if you have a little bit more organization, you can be sure to cover all of the main lanes as we have done in the program. Vence is one of those rare medieval towns in France that still has its wall all the way around it. Anytime you have an old wall around a medieval village, you are going to see ancient buildings dating back hundreds of years. Sometimes they're all falling apart, but in this case, the town has been beautifully preserved. While the buildings still have their original authentic appearance, they have been thoroughly renovated, well taken care of, and have quite modern interiors. You cannot get lost when you're inside the old town of Vence because it's so small, but you might get a little confused from these twisting lanes. Just keep in mind there are several main lanes and several main plazas, and just feel free to wander, deviate down the little side alleys, come on back to the main lane, and walk both directions. It's interesting whether you're coming or going. This fellow is keeping his eyes out on the goings-on down below, the town watchdog. Vence is a very safe place. You have no worries here. As we walk along these narrow lanes inside the old town, it's interesting to reflect back on the history that led to the creation of such an attractive and yet strongly fortified village. Vence was occupied in turn by the Phoenicians, the Phocians, and the Gauls. By and by, the town was conquered by the Romans, speedily attained to great importance as a central depot for the army. It was one of the 8 principal cities of the Roman province of the Maritime Alps. It had a forum, an aqueduct, 2 major temples, and many splendid palaces for the high-ranking Roman inhabitants. We end up where we began, crossing the busy streets and heading for the bus stop, and along the way we go through this interesting flea market. However, our day is not finished. We're heading on to the next town on this wonderful day trip, and that's the town of Saint-Paul-de-Vence. You can look for that in several of our other videos. Sometimes Vence is skipped by travelers looking for the more famous village of Saint Paul, But you've seen here how attractive Vence can be. Perhaps even more so because it's slightly less touristic, more for the locals, a real authentic Provençal walled village. We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.